Hello there, I'm Sconchulus, and this is TEPPEN Deck Teck, where I present to you decks that are fun, strong, or interesting. Today we are playing a deck that quickly spirals value through constant repeatable interaction and outplays. Our hero art, Bringer of Nightmare, is where the repeatability and spiraling come from. BON gives us rapid access to massive cheap units, and being tied for the cheapest hero art in the game, this quickly gets out of hand, especially when our units have powerful control effects like Marionette, which, when activating Quest by milling one card, will destroy one 4 MP or lower unit. In effect, everyone seems to hate on units, which means it's very worth taking advantage of. Bringer, making them a 4/7, is a threat even without the destroy, but of course we do need to activate their quest, the best way being the beautiful sadist Vega, who will trigger any quest unit played after him unrespondably. You can follow that up by ascending Chainsaw Ganado over your Marionette to immediately put them back in deck for Bringer and get 2 pops. Ganado can also turn off our Vega Mill once we've gotten enough value. We also play 2 yugioh for similar purposes. Their minus HP effect is huge against green to hit under shields, and they immediately are a serious threat on board. If you're not totally sold on Joe, just consider they can one-shot Gar before his unleash. Our last mill unit is the Hag, who, after milling, also provides a huge buff, which makes for some sick combos, most notably with the Baby. Making this card into an undamageable 5/3 will let them deal 15 damage in trades before the effect wears off, as long as you time it right. And that should kill just about anything in the game, which will trigger their decimate effect to keep them around even longer. When this behemoth baby is finally defeated, they come back as a 2 MP 4/13 thanks to our hero art. Truly terrifying stuff. This card is very worth playing for the 6 MP and is a great turn 1 play, but as the game goes on, you do need to get more efficient than these big 9 MP plays with an unrevenged baby, so playing 2 feels a lot better than 3. And our last non-legendary unit, still the best revenge unit in the game, is Zombie. This card might not seem like much, and might even seem cuttable at first glance, but it is completely required for the deck to work. Between Vega and Marionette, the deck can get a bit draw-dependent, which Zombie will mostly solve by being an amazing play at any time in the game. They're always the perfect blocker, and just by playing them, you will get value thanks to their death effect. When you pull them back with Bringer as a 1 MP 6/3 that refunds the 1 MP, they are genuinely overpowered. I've even killed alligators with this card, and one-shotting something like a Chainsaw Ganado and surviving to force another block or massive direct damage is way too good not to play 3. And finally, for our legendary units, we have Overseer Alex Wesker, who can actually kill with her Ascend on occasion, but is really played to transform into the Vile Killer for a massive swing in tempo. She is also one of the most likely units for us to add back using an Elementary Mistake, which is our last way to trigger quest for 2 MP cheaper than Vega or Hag. The downside being that it is respondable with a Destroy or Village Rebuilds, and unfortunately, once you mill your entire deck, it will not add anything back, so we're only playing 2. Next, Obsessive Killer Ustanak is our most powerful unit, period. Once we're adding him with Bringer. When he's a repeatable 5/10 with a solid control effect, Ustank will spiral value for us more than any other unit. The first time you play him, he's definitely a little weaker, but the minus HP effect can still be a perfect way to kill units like the Princess, and the Hag can make him a 4/6 piercer, or a 7/9 after revenge. Next, Deicideal Schemer Wesker undoubtedly speaks for himself, being arguably the strongest removal in all of TEPPEN, with no counterplay of any kind. If his decimate goes off, you should win the game right there, and being able to use him twice in a game puts him in a league of his own. He's irreplaceable. And our very last unit is Elusive Demon Astaroth, who is doing his very best impression of Wesker. His removal is much worse and takes a while to come online, but to make up for that, he is much scarier on the field, and being able to play him twice is still every bit as oppressive as when the deicidal schemer does it. Last of all, we have our tech cards. Mad Massacre is essential to dodge seals and will get you out of so many bad situations, but I could only make room for one. Dark Condemnation is our first and last line of defense against Storm Owl and really any problem card, and just being able to cycle the card on an empty board to make sure we have good draws makes this an unquestionable 3 of. And Gathering Effluvium is the card I've changed the most, but I think this is the right one. I was playing Last Judgment in a few of the games today, and Titanic Gatekeeper is solid too, but Effluvium helps the most against Change Form and Raging Demon, and still matters against green because of the Circus card. And last of all, we have a card that is extremely scary for both players. Nightmare Flowers. Destroy all units has always been a meta-defining effect, and with green's ability to go wide so aggressively right now, this kind of card is more necessary than ever. But I can't deny that I have lost a game where I used this on a full board only to lose to that exact same board later with revenge. And I've also won by doing that, and then breaking the board again for cheaper. It's an amazing card that you will get better at using as you play it. It's easiest to use close to time when the downside won't matter. And it has the coolest animation in the whole game. Here's the deck QR for you, and with all that said, let's get into it.
Game 1, we are up against one of the most hated decks in all of TEPPEN, and my favorite matchup for Bringer this season, Raging Demon. Hopefully, we should have some good back and forth. We're both playing pretty similar types of strategies, so whoever uses their ascends and destroys better should be the winner. We'll start off with Vega, and our opponent plays down Liquor, which gives us the opportunity for our quest with Marionette. Our opponent will play down a zombie and ascend Armadura over that, which we can make quick work of with Chainsaw Ganado. Our opponent will play down Vile Killer Alex in front of our Marionette, which will transform her, and that gives us the opportunity to transform our own Alex Wesker. We'll use Bringer of Nightmare to search a Marionette, and our opponent will use the Deicidal Schemer to destroy our Wesker. We'll ascend a Yugioh over the Infected, which will destroy their Wesker, and they will use their first Raging Demon with Armadura, which we can make quick work of using Vega and our 1 MP Revenge Marionette. We're now able to get in some good direct damage, and our opponent will use Gathering Effluvium to destroy our Marionette. We'll respond with Dark Condemnation, which gives them the MP for Prayer Slips to defeat our Vega. We'll play down Zombie and Infected to keep the pressure on, and our opponent will play Zombie Ascending Armadura, which we were ready for with our Corrosion. Our opponent will respond with Cooldown to prevent a bit of damage direct, and we will search another Corrosion to our EX. They're able to defeat our Zombie, but we still get in some direct with our Infected. We'll play down the Baby in the top lane, and they block another hit, and they are forced to use their Raging Demon to defeat our Baby. They have a 410 Mutant Pedro, but we can make quick work of them with our Chainsaw Ganado. We'll play down Zombie in the top lane, our opponent blocks Ganado, and we attempt to get in for direct with our Zombie, but we figure out how the situation works and end up killing them with the Liquor's death effect. Our opponent plays down an Armadura in front of our Ganado. We will search a Baby back to our EX, and they will ascend Armadura over their Ganado. We will play down Baby in the middle lane, making a perfect block for the Armadura, and they will be forced to use a Mutant Pedro unascended to deal with them. They are then able to ascend a Chainsaw Ganado to defeat the Baby, but we are able to play Marionette in the top lane and attempt to use Elementary Mistake to defeat their Ganado, but they are able to respond with Cooldown, which gives us the chance for Corrosion on the Ganado. All we have to do now is play defensively since we are so far ahead and the game is in the bag. But even still, we have a lot of options to deal with their board. We will play down our Revenge Marionette and bring them up to a 6-6. Our opponent uses Gathering Effluvium and plays down a Revenge Armadura, which we are able to defeat with another Ganado. We use our Bringer of Nightmares to search another zombie to keep the pressure on our opponent, and they will use Raging Demon with Seth. If we defeat that, they will get a bit of health back, but the pressure is on for our opponent to stop everything we do now. We will use Mad Massacre to deny their destroy on zombie and get in some damage on their Seth, and when we draw into File Killer Ustanek, the game is sealed and we get in Game 1. Game 2, we are up against the deck that is single-handedly defining the meta, X Heart Tank. If we don't have at least a decent Storm Owl matchup, I can't possibly recommend the deck. So, hopefully I will be able to. We draw a hand that we can't possibly shuffle back since it has Wesker, so we'll start off with Vega and hopefully draw into some more quests. Our opponent starts off with White Cat Circus, which should put something in the range of our Chainsaw Ganado. They will follow that up with a second Cat Circus, which will definitely put something in range, and we will play down zombies so we don't waste any MP. Our opponent uses Disarm on our Vega, proving to be the perfect bait, and they will play down Felicia and Parker Luciani, who is at 4 MP, making the perfect target for our Ganado. Unfortunately, they do still have the Storm Owl, which we don't have Ganado for now, but we can play down Marionette and activate Elementary Mistake, which our opponent responds to with Village Rebuilds. This gives us a very clutch 50-50, which we thankfully have our Marionette survive, destroying their Storm Owl. We'll play down our Revenge Zombie and use the Wesker to defeat their huge Felicia, and our opponent will play down the Huntsman, defeating our zombie, but they only have a 5-2 left. They are able to shield it when we attempt to use Mad Massacre to clear the board, and we are able to defeat one more Huntsman. They still have their original 5-8 Huntsman left, and they are able to clear our board. We'll play down our Revenge Marionette, which should be able to trade with their Huntsman, but they won't allow us to, playing down Huntsman to defeat our Marionette. Unfortunately for them, our Astaroth is now at 4 revenge count, meaning it can exactly defeat their Storm Owl. We will play down Vega and Wesker to defeat their Felicia, and they will play down Gar and Storm Owl, activating X Factor level 3. We need to win the game right now before Gar gets in lethal. We're able to block him with Hag. They play down Heisenberg to get more value back to keep them in the game. They use Heart Tank to bring themselves just up above lethal damage. We'll block Gar again. He's down to 3 HP. Now we need to find answers immediately. They activate Sanctuary's Gate to heal Gar. We'll respond with Dark Condemnation, and our opponent will activate Village Rebuilds to guarantee Gar survives. But we can use Mad Massacre, which has a very small chance to send 4 damage top and defeat Gar. We're able to clear their board, and we are ahead by 5 HP. We'll play down our baby, and hopefully that will be able to get in some damage to finish off the game. Our opponent plays down Felicia, and we will activate the Hag, making our baby undamageable, making Felicia easy fodder for them, and we are able to get in the last damage for Game 2 against X Storm Owl. Game 3, we are up against Change Form. Possibly the worst matchup for any slow destroy based deck like ours, because each one of our destroys gives them value as well. Hopefully we can end the game before that becomes too much for us. We'll keep a slightly awkward hand because it has both of our Weskers, and we'll start off with Marionette. Unfortunately, we don't draw into any activators for them. Our opponent responds with Dark Condemnation, searching themselves a Corrosion, and our Marionette will make its way along before they play a Preel into Deviljho to delete them. We can respond to that with Deocidal Schemer Wesker to destroy their Deviljho, and our opponent will use their Dark Mantis with a Faith buff to block our Deocidal Schemer. That gives us the perfect setup for our Vile Killer Alex, which will get in 5 direct before they block it with another Dark Mantis, followed by the third Dark Mantis to defeat her. They then use their Change Form, which we can block 1 time with our Marionette, and we will attempt to use Elementary Mistake to destroy their Dark Mantis. Unfortunately, they can respond with Corrosion to try and protect it, but we have Mad Massacre to make sure we get rid of the Mantis. we will add back our vile killer Alex with Elementary Mistake, which we will play down right away to try and keep our health value high. Our opponent will play down Solo, which will get in some good damage on Alex. They are now down to 5 HP, and they play down double Marionette into Shielder to clear our board. They then use another change form, which leaves us with incredible board pressure to deal with. Thankfully, we can use our Revenge Marionette into Hag to deal with 2 of their units. We play down Zombie, and the only unit they have left is their Marionette. Unfortunately, they can set up their own Vile Killer Alex, but at the very least, we can quickly get rid of it with our own Deacidal Schemer, which will also take one of their marionettes with it. They play down their Solo, which will delete our Wesker, and we are able to block their last marionette. We play down the Baby, which will hopefully heal us a bit, and we will use the Hag to make sure they are not defeated. We will use Mad Massacre to destroy their Solo before it gets in any more direct on us, and our opponent has the Corrosion to defeat our Baby. That could have been our win condition, but now it's 4-2, and any mistake will cost either of us the game. We'll play down our Vega to try and keep the pressure on, at least force something out of our opponent, and we'll play down the second Vega to get as much value on board as we can. They will use Corrosion to defeat our Vega, and we will play down our 6-3 Zombie, which will hopefully be able to get in. But when they play Marionette down, that does not seem likely. They are able to use Shielder to defeat our Marionette, and they get in the damage while we're charging for Last Judgment. Here we are again, and man, does it feel good to finally get this deck right. This is probably the most iteration I've gone through for a deck on this show, and after getting 1800 points week 1, I feel confident saying that this deck can compete. I wasn't totally sure about the 2 Baby for a while. I thought they might be the weakest link, but they're so good against red and really help you clean up some difficult trades against green and other decks. Once I got a bit of practice on the list, this deck was super satisfying to play, and I highly recommend it to anybody who loves interaction in black. As far as matchups go, red is pretty easy to beat as long as we can stick a good Baby, but if not, they can potentially keep us off of our interaction and ascends, so it really comes down to a bit of luck in that matchup. Green, I wish I could say was favored, but it's the best deck in the game right now, and having an even matchup is a huge accomplishment, and I think we do go even against Storm Owl. Against purple, if they're playing the steel deck, that can be a lot of trouble for our revenge engine to get going, but if they're playing explore, our destroys will make them have a real tough time. And black, Raging Demon is the most fun matchup right now. It's completely even in my opinion, while Change Form is definitely slightly unfavored. I would recommend the deck to anybody who wants to win convincingly by playing through everything their opponent has with constant outplays. I also have a budget version here for you, which is a drastically different take on the deck, using Beauty's Envy to trigger our quests and set up new friends for an almost unrespondable destroy with our marionettes. As for the next episode, let me know down below whether you would rather see some breakaway purple or some unlimited feline spirits. Thank you all for watching. Please like the video if you liked the video, subscribe if you subscribed. Once again, I'm Skillz, and I'll see you in the next one.